There's an assertion out there that just the SEC and Big Ten are the only two teams, only two conferences that can produce a team capable of producing a national championship. I'm like, duh. I mean, could a team creep out of there? Um, I don't know, Caleb, like a Big 12 team. We saw TCU do some stuff. Yeah, I guess that's all possible. But if you made me bet right now, I think the SEC and the Big Ten will produce champions for the foreseeable future. I don't think that changes anytime soon. You?
No, I don't think it does. And this is all happening because this week what the all the college football playoff leaders, all the conference commissioners, plus Notre Dame's athletic director are going to meet to discuss the future formats of the college football playoff. And it's going to be hard for the SEC and Big Ten to get the unanimous agreement that they want going forward, which is the straight seeding. But the interesting thing about that is like, okay, it may be hard, but the SEC and Big Ten could also take their ball and go home if they don't get their way.
Exactly
And
right.
so I I'm going to split the baby. So this question came because I was watching. I'm going to give him a shout. I was watching Josh Pate the other day, and someone asked, "Could the Big 12 ever win a title?" And he actually said no. The question becomes down to the ACC. Well, like, could a Clemson or Florida State sneak through? And I'm going to say not as long as they're in the ACC. And
I agree.
that's where I land.
I think it's similar to Tennessee and playing a somewhat weak schedule to begin the season. I think you get overly confident. When you play in the ACC, you feel really good about yourself. Now, you could argue the other side of that, that would keep you healthier longer and into the postseason. And I get that. But bank on it, brought to you by Commercial Bank. There will not be a non-Big Ten or non-SEC champion in college football anytime soon.
Commercial Bank is your neighborhood bank. What makes us different from other banks? We understand that every customer has unique opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. We don't expect you to fit into the same box as the next person or business. Whether it's purchasing a home, saving for your child's future, or planning for your next vacation, we're with you every step of the way to navigate life's big decisions.
By the way, Matt wanted to tell us that it's the Stone Doll, Rocky Mountain Bighorn, and Desert Bighorn sheep that Karl Malone was trying to bag, in addition to underage ladies. But Caleb, is that good for the sport? If you don't have a champion out of another conference,
I don't necessarily think it's bad for the sport if the SEC and Big Ten gobble up all the blue bloods anyway. Now, I never thought about this, but do we include Notre Dame and just say they're like an exception, or do we think they can never win a national title either, even as an independent?
I don't think
they
can because of their academic and discipline restrictions. But if you want to include them, I'm okay with that.
If they drop those, they probably could because they're getting all that money now from the college football playoff.
I mean, they haven't dropped those to get Randy Moss, so why would they drop them to get any players now?
No, yeah, you're right. That's a good point. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think it's going to only be the SEC and the Big Ten, and I don't think the fact that it's that is bad for the sport. Here's what I think is bad for the sport. Dave, the SEC and Big Ten are so big now, it's time to create conferences within the conference. It's time to create mini conferences within the conference. They're too big. Split the SEC in half, split the Big Ten in half, have 8, 9-team conferences where you play round robin, and then your conference champions are there, and then you guys agree where you'll meet in a bowl game afterward. I mean, the conferences are just too big, and they're not going to stop growing. Look, there's going to be a bidding war, and everybody, the SEC and the Big Ten are going to fight like hell to get University of Virginia and University of North Carolina when the ACC breaks up. They're going to fight each other and do whatever they can to get those two schools. Those two are joining one of those two conferences in 7 years. I think the SEC is going straight for Clemson and Florida State, and I think the Big Ten and SEC might fight for Miami. And there's an open invitation for Notre Dame to eventually join the Big Ten. And I mean, at some point, look, I think So with that in mind, now, are there Big 12 teams that they can pluck off? I'm not sure. Maybe as Arizona and Arizona State continue to develop fan bases, maybe they'll go for them. They probably want to get in the San Francisco market with Stanford and Cal, Utah. So there's a few schools out west in the Big 12 too, but none of these schools are going to win a title unless they move to the Big 10 or SEC. I think the gap's just too big in money.
No, I agree. I want to get to David's point first. These ladies said every team that lost, that got a bye in the college football playoff, lost. Obviously, the seeding is stupid. You mentioned earlier something, and please hit that like button if you guys don't care. The thumbs up button, I'd greatly appreciate it. You said something earlier I kind of disagree with. I think there's a chance the SEC and Big Ten get the straight seeding.
No, I think they could get the straight seeding because they hold all the cards.
They have to have an anonymous vote. You can't even be one person. That's the scary part about it.
Yeah,
Now,
unanimous, not anonymous.
oh, what did I say?
You said anonymous.
Oh, yeah. Like a bunch of people voting, you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this, and I'm not sure this will happen, but don't be completely surprised if the biggest news that comes out of this meeting is the fact that they're going to go 14 or 16 teams next year. I almost wonder if they'll just say with the straight seeding stuff, yeah, it'd be nice. That's a cherry on top. But ultimately, just getting more teams in, that's your bargaining chip. I almost believe that this straight seeding thing has just been floated out there to help them have another bargaining chip.
I think that's highly possible. And here's why here's why they don't want it. Like the NCAA tournament, Dave, you know how I've told you the NCAA tournament, you get paid for however many games your conference plays on. Like for every NCAA tournament game your conference plays, your conference gets paid. I think it's like $2 million. For teams that get a first round bye in the college football playoff, they're already getting credit for playing 2 games. So they're getting $8 million instead of $4 million. There's no way the Mountain West or the Big 12 or the ACC want to give that up.
Let me ask you this. David says there are only 4 non-SEC Big 10 teams that could win it. That'd be Notre Dame, Miami, Clemson, and Florida State. Would you add anybody to that?
No, not in this moment, and I'm not so sure they can if they don't join, except for Notre Dame. But you're right, Notre Dame's academic standards. But because this is the problem with, I mean, like, but then there's the other side of it, and I don't know if this is bad or good for the sport. Let's take the Big 12, for instance, Dave. You know, Arizona State won it last year. The Big 12 is like, we're talking maybe a couple of ACC teams. There's a virtual 100% shot no Big 12 teams winning a national title, right? At all.
Boy,
like, name a Big 12 win at all.
It'd have to be the perfect storm. I don't think there is one.
There isn't one. But the Big 12 has the most parity of any conference in college football this year. Arizona State was picked last in the league last year, and they won it. When's the last time a team picked last in the SEC won the conference?
It's not going to. It's never going to happen.
Never going to happen. Same with the Big 10. The team picked last is never going to win it. That makes the Big 12, honestly, in some cases, the most fun league to watch in college football, because everything in the Big 12 is about the conference race to get to the playoff.
Oh, it's a bunch of slow dudes, though. I mean,
but it's fun. It's still fun.
Caleb's and Dave's, a bunch of Caucasians. I mean, it's all right.
Hey, it's like watching those low-level college basketball teams in smaller conferences.
Yeah, General Ursa says it's time for the SEC Big 10 to break off and split the bill to bust the ACC and form a 50-team Super League. I have no problem with that.
I mean, that's what's happening. They'll probably get it up to 70. I think they're going to go really, really big and add a bunch of teams. But I think they're going to jockey and create an ALNL. They're going to try. I don't know how this is all going to end up, because parity is getting better in college football, but the money distribution is getting more uneven at the same time. So, we're going to have to see what happens.